friends, and welcome to the Noclip podcast. This one probably looks a bit short to you, right?
We didn't have a lot to talk about this week, I don't think.
Yeah, just like a 10-minute episode or something, Jesse. So when we did this podcast back in the day, because in case you don't know, our entire company is crowdfunded. We don't do any advertising or like corporate work or anything. So all the Noclip stuff, and also the podcast doesn't have any ads on it either. So we've always done extra bonus stuff for our patrons, and we used to do this on the podcast feed. In fact, every once in a while somebody messages me, Jesse, and they're like, "Where's episode 24?" And it's like, "Oh, that was one of the patron-exclusive one." It just got very messy. So what we're going to do from now on is we're bringing back the patron-exclusive podcasts. That's what this is this week. But instead of having them just like disappear off the feed, what we're going to do is Jesse's going to edit down like a segment of it, like somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes as like a sort of a teaser, I guess.
The best bits.
Yeah. Just like one chunk. Don't feel like you have to like do a supercut of the whole thing. That might be better.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens while I'm working through it.
Yeah, we did just talk about the 2005, I think. 2006?
No, 05. October 05, okay. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, the October 05 movie entitled Doom, starring The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson.
Yes.
Carl Urban and Gone Girl's Rosamund Pike, who I forgot was in that movie. Darker days maybe in her career. The whole crew, including Frank and Jeremy and Jesse and myself, all talked about it. We watched the movie. It's basically a big video review. So you're going to get a clip of it here. And if you want to support us, it's on the $5 patron tier. It's our lowest tier. You get access to loads more. Discord and loads of posts and a patron show every month. And more importantly, you help us do things like drop an hour of Half-Life gameplay from a cancelled game on the internet.
Pretty dope. It's pretty cool.
All that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Duke Nukem Forever next. We're showing more Duke Nukem. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we don't even know. Duke Nukem Forever. Weirdly, last night I was actually in a hole where I was watching a bunch because some of it did drop. There was some stuff dropped a couple of days ago. I think it was on 4chan or something, which I don't go to 4chan very often.
But, you don't have to lie to us, all right?
Okay, I was private browsing on 4chan, Jesse, talking about things I don't like about society. Maybe we'll get into that here on the podcast sometime. But I was in a hole. I was kind of looking through other games. Is there any other games, like cancelled games? When you hear a cancelled game you didn't see footage of, is there anything that comes to mind that you'd like?
Well, there's a sequel to this pretty cool game. It's called Prey.
Oh, no.
I'd love to know what happened to Prey 2.
There's weirdly enough, in the intervening years, there has been a lot of footage of that game. It's just this one level they showed at E3 one year.
Right.
So I think there's like multiple playthroughs of that. But yeah, that was one of the videos I was watching 2 nights ago before I was watching Doom, which I watched last night. The latest possible time I could watch it before we recorded this podcast. But yeah, exactly. Doing stuff like that, going out and finding these stories and telling we're going to LA in a couple of weeks' time to film some new stuff that's really exciting. It's all crowdfunded. It wouldn't be possible without our patrons. So if you'd like to support us, go check that out. And if not, here's a clip from that podcast, and we'll be back next week with your regularly scheduled Noclip podcast. So I guess, Jesse, take it away. We get into some of the action here, so let's chat about some of that. Jeremy, you were saying the maybe weakest part of the movie, or I hear what you're saying in terms of the spatial, how they capture the space of the battles.
It's ironic because it's arguably the one thing you need to nail in a Doom movie is dudes like running down a hallway with guns, shooting at things, and it's awesome and the music is pumping. I mean, this is before the Mick Gordon era of like ripping and tearing, but still like the feeling should have been there that these firefights were exciting and visceral and fast paced, and instead they're kind of like survival horror-y. Like it's very much, this is an average fight in Doom with a couple notable exceptions. They're going down a hallway, they hear something, or someone like gets alerted to some noise, something's creeping in the dark and it moves too fast for you to see, and then they catch up to it and kill it within 10 picoseconds. Like it's just instantly dead. It also, like, it's not only the choreography, it's also the editing sometimes. Like in the intro, I had to watch it maybe 5 or 6 times. After Carmack like sounds the alarm, I was obsessed with parts of this movie. After Carmack sounds the alarm, the demon or whatever, you don't really see it, burst through the door that he's like sealed the door to get away from, and as soon as you see it, you would think hard cut, loud noise, we're in the movie, exciting, Doom, this is Doom. Instead, it does like a 0.7 second fade to black, like it is cutting to commercial in a Nickelodeon Are You Afraid of the Dark episode. Like, it is the softest, and it's not only a fade to black, it is also there's an audio fade, and it is just the softest, gentlest, like, oh, it's gonna get scary. No, it's all good. Don't worry. Like, it's so ineffective.
Is that when the logo comes up then?
It might be. I can't remember. I mean, whether or not they should have smash cut to black, smash cut to low. Just do some smashing. Like, it was so gentle. And
This
I
movie
was
needed
like,
more smashing. I agree.
it just set the tone for, I don't know. There was a mismatch between kind of like form and what the tone should have been.
Well, I on the tone stuff though, you've not played Doom 3 and you're basically I'm not for a movie. I think you're entirely right. It's like the action and the plotting nature of this. It's the worst part of this film. But tonally, Doom 3 was a survival horror game. It's not like Doom 1 and 2. It was a corridor crawling. You're on your own, usually only fighting one or two things at a time. And that's, and because Doom 2016 ends up like, swinging real hard in the other direction. And the Call of Doom game was kind of more, like Doom 1 and 2 that eventually got cancelled.
Yeah.
So not to forgive it, but
No,
at least it was sticking to what Doom was in the mid-aughts or whatever.
That's good context because 3 is kind of I've played like the early ones and I've played a bit of the more recent ones. 3 is kind of my blind spot. My experience with 3 is largely just seeing like tech demo screenshots from PC Gamer magazines like back in the day. But like tonally, this movie is kind of trapped between two worlds. Like it wants to be Aliens sometimes, which Aliens, takes a lot of the survival horror stuff from Alien, but then it kind of like softens it up with the like game over man. And this movie clearly is like trying to do its own game over man reference a few times. They say like the word game a bunch in weird contexts.
At one stage, there's a fight where he's swinging a monitor on the
that's
chain.
the
Oh my
best,
God.
though.
So
That's that whole scene.
Okay, that's exactly what I was about to say. That is the best fight sequence in the entire movie, and it revealed to me that this movie would have been. So that's the other thing it's trapped between. On one hand, it wants to be Aliens. On the other hand, this movie could have been like an Evil Dead style, like campy romp, and I think that would have been the better version of it because there's a fight where a destroyer gets trapped in an electrified pit with one of the demons and gets into a fist fight with it, and it's so good. Like, let me just relate a couple moments from it. It's pitch black in the pit. He falls in there. He's already injured, and the pit is a holding cell, so the walls are electrified, and so he can't see the demon down there. So he takes a metal like medical cart and throws it against the wall so that it creates sparks to reveal the demon, and then he's swinging around on these chains that are down there, and it's fucking awesome. At one point, he gets pinned against the electric wall, gets his knife out, stabs the demon while doing a front flip to get away, and then the best moment of the entire fight is he gets a monitor and is like a computer monitor and is holding it by the wires, swinging it around like Bowser in a boss fight from Mario 64.
That's my note, Bowser. Yeah.
And smashing this demon. And it is like, I was like, if this was this entire movie, if they leaned into this tone, I think this movie would have been 10 times better.
Well, to your point about them not being able to like show effectively show the space, like almost that space makes that a moot point because it's just a fucking hole.
Yeah, it's just a
there's
circle.
no alternative angle. You can cross the line. It doesn't matter. It's just, oh my God.
Yeah, that was my favorite moment of the whole film.
Yeah,
and
same.
That's Destroyer as a character. I don't know anything about him. He's just a large man with a machine gun. But that moment was enough characterization for me to love him.
Yeah, it's a shame he doesn't make it out. One of the problems I had, especially when you keep bringing up Alien, because it's very Alien and kind of Aliens, I guess, as well. Those movies have a sense of place that this movie just does not have. This movie is using so many it's just soundstage fodder. Like the set design is completely unrealistic. It's like it's sort of a carnival haunted house half the time. Lots of sheet metal and big boots clamoring on gantries and stuff like that. But you never really get a sense of like the size of the place, the scope of it. Like in Aliens, or in Alien rather, the Nostromo was also a soundstage, right? It was this sort of big ship that they'd built indoors, but you got a sense of the sort of claustrophobia of that space and also of the infinite abyss outside of it, which they used, I'm assuming because of the era, it was miniatures and stuff like that. In this one, the interior spaces almost feel too big half the time, and there is almost no sense of what's outside, of what like the planet is like, or how big this facility is, or, you know, anything. Like, it was weird seeing like kids. I was like, why the fuck are
someone's carrying babies. I'm like, why would you bring them to Mars? What are you doing?
How do you send the baby through the fucking, do you just throw the baby into the... Do you carry the baby, or does the baby get molded to you? Like
kids love portals. They want to jump in.
That's so true. Everyone knows that. There is a moment in this film where they've been like plunging into this like dungeon-esque base, going farther and farther and farther, and someone gets injured. It's kind of like the first big like casualty on the team when they're in the sewers. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to take them hours to exfiltrate. It's going to take them so long to get him back to an area where he's safe. And then it just hard cuts and they're back at the base. Like, I just had no sense of place at all. I had no idea where I was. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Did those sewers seem a bit too big as well?
Way too big.
Huge.
The second I saw them, I was like, you do not need this much space to hold people's urine and shit on this moon base. Why? How often are people showering up here? Like every 5 seconds? But then they go to a bathroom and there's like 8 stalls. What? How many people on this base are going to the bathroom at the same time?
The biggest sewers ever. Like, also like sewers that like, I don't know, you're on an alien planet. Don't you just like dig a hole real deep and just fire it all down there? Like...
True.
Not that big a deal, right?
I think Blade 2 has like the exact same sewer design, which Blade 2 was like O2, but I remember because like anytime, even in video games, anytime there's sewer levels, my brain just blocks it. It's like I'm so bored of I hate this stuff. And yeah, you know what? I will say to its credit, a video game movie, there's a sewer level the game movie. And I think that's kind of charming.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I did want to speak about the lack of Mars. Roger Ebert, one of the all-time, like the best. His review of Doom is so funny.
Oh my god!
Specifically, I'm gonna read I'll read some section of it. This is how he opens his interview. 1 star out of 4, or maybe less. Doom has one great shot. It comes right at the beginning. It's the Universal logo. Instead of a spinning Earth with the letters Universal rising in the east and centering themselves, rising, we see the red planet Mars. That's the last we see of the surface of Mars. A lot of readers thought I was crazy for liking Ghost of Mars, Red Planet, and Total Recall, but blast it all, at least in those movies, you get to see Mars. I'm a science fiction fan from way back. I go to Mars, I expect to see it. Watching Doom is like visiting Las Vegas and never leaving your hotel room.
That's really good.
Shout out to Roger Ebert.
That's really good.
Yeah. Okay, that was your preview. Your little sneak peek into our hour-long conversation all about the 2005 Doom movie. It's a good time. Like Danny said at the top, if you want to hear the rest of it, head on over to patreon.com/Noclip. Sign up at the $5 tier. And hey, on top of being able to listen to that exclusive podcast, you'll also get 5 years of behind-the-scenes content from the documentaries, access to the patron-exclusive Discord server, update videos, and most importantly, a warm and fuzzy feeling inside because you'll be supporting all the great stuff that we do, like this podcast, which will be back next week, regularly scheduled. Maybe I'll be on it if my internet works. We'll be talking about video games, maybe... other movies, maybe Resident Evil. I don't know. Good movies, possibly. I don't know. Find out next week. We'll see you then. Take it easy.